Two, in the interest of young adult DW. There's still a few in the waiting room. Let me bring them in. Ms. Boyle, was that what you were going to say? The advocate?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's in.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. So having called the case, let me go ahead and swear everyone in. We'll see where we are. If you'll raise your right hands to be sworn, do you all swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Dick, we're here at the very least for progress, but if you want to call, well, this was originally Ms. Iverson's motion. So, Ms. Iverson, do you want to call your first, or do you want to defer, or do you all just want to make an announcement?
Well, Judge, unfortunately, the circumstances have changed. I guess fortunately and unfortunately.
Okay.
His level has changed. And so...
Did he go up or down?
I'm constantly confused by that, so I'll just say his level got worse.
Okay.
And so I don't...
We're beyond the RTC being an option.
Well, no, I think that he's no longer, now his level qualifies. Stay.
Okay.
The problem
Go ahead.
when I filed the motion was he was no longer specialized. And
Right.
so they would only take specialized, and so he needed to go elsewhere. And now he's not specialized, he is specialized, and so he qualifies to remain.
Is the RTC in agreement to allow him to remain? Is the department in agreement? Do we need a court order?
That might be a question for the caseworker, though I'm not positive that she would know, because this all happened. I didn't learn about it until Friday.
Oh, okay. And is the supervisor and the caseworker is Ms. Lewis? And is the supervisor, I see Ms. Vian.
Yes. He's a supervisor, yes.
Okay. All right. So why don't you I'll let you call your first, Ms. Iverson.
Actually, I think the most knowledgeable is probably Casa, so I'm just going to start with him.
Yes, we can. Thank you. You may proceed, Ms. Iverson.
Mr. Mangum, could you state your name for the record?
Dallas Mangum.
Yes, we can. Thank you. You may proceed, Ms. Iverson.
Mr. Mangum, could you state your name for the record?
Dallas Mangum.
And what's your role in this case?
I'm Dakota's Casa.
Can you inform the court about what has happened recently with Dakota's level?
Well, the level in the RTC, he was at level 3, which it goes lowest 1, highest 4. He broke a rule in the house, and I guess the consequences was dropping him all the way back to level 1. That happened. He bartered. He traded a watch with another kid.
And what did he trade his watch for?
Another watch, I believe.
And those boys that were trading their own property, correct?
As far as I know, yeah. Nobody was harmed or injured in the trade, as far as I know.
No one was stealing.
Correct.
Nobody broke the law.
Correct.
No undue influence was exerted.
As far as my knowledge, no.
And what are the consequences for Dakota?
They're pretty dire at this point. His level being dropped to level 1. He did make the first cut on the baseball team, but that disallows him from any extracurricular activities outside the home.
How big of a deal was it for him to make the baseball team?
A bigger deal than any of us had in the last year, probably. Huge.
How long has he been talking about that?
8 months at least.
The watches were returned, correct?
Say that again for me.
The watches were returned.
I do not know that. I'm assuming since the house knew whatever happened, they just made it back to before, but I don't know that for a fact.
What are your thoughts on Dakota making the team and not being allowed to play?
Well, it isn't not being able to play, but it's certainly going to make it a lot more difficult for a few weeks. But I haven't given up on that yet.
Had arrangements been made for all of his transportation to practices and games
Yeah, I had that covered.
within the community?
Yes, ma'am.
That's witness.
All right. So, Mr. Mangum, do you know whether the other individual was with whom DW ostensibly traded watches? Was the other individual a minor?
I would assume, Judge.
Okay.
I don't know the particulars about that story. I've been told through Dakota, so
Okay.
I don't know.
He was another resident.
He was another resident, so I would just assume he's a minor. I don't think there's many that are 18.
Okay, but Dakota's 18, right?
He is, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So my other question is, so the levels are 1 to 4. It appears that 1 is the worst or the lowest. At what level would he become eligible once again to participate in extracurricular activities?
3.
Okay, so where he was before.
And in time, so that's about 4 weeks is what I'm being told.
Okay, so in other words, it's going to take him, all things being equal, 4 weeks to be able to get back, if at all, to level 3?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I think I heard you say he made the first cut in baseball. I assume, is there another tryout?
No, so there's not. And from what I've seen, I don't. The first cut is the last cut from what I've seen.
Okay. Right. So in essence, he made the team.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, thank you. Ms. Dick, any questions for Mr. Mangum?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Iverson, did I, if I generated any more questions, you may continue.
No, sir, I think that's about it. I'm happy to call Ms. Lewis, but I don't know that she has anything more to offer than Mr. Mangum.
Okay, I guess, and I'm sure everyone is working with massaging, cajoling the placement, but let's engage just a little bit in what ifs. What if the court ordered that Dakota participate in extracurricular activities?
That's obviously what I'm asking, and I wouldn't even ask as much as plural, just this one. It's his dream. And he didn't really do anything, in my opinion.
Well, you know, I'm a sportsman. Y'all can laugh. But that has nothing at all to do with it. That's irrelevant. This is not about sports or baseball, really. I mean, it is to Dakota, but it's more than that. It's way more than that.
It is.
And I think everyone I'm looking at gets that just as well, if not better, than I do. but people don't always play fairly or maturely. So what are the chances, Ms. Lewis, if you know, or Mr. Mangum, if you know, if I order that, what is the RTC's rejoinder going to be? They're going to say, then come get him, or we're not going to provide transportation, or what? Do we know?
We're not asking them for transportation, Judge. That's been worked out by Mr. Mangum. We just need them to say yes.
Okay. Well, and I do recall Mr. Mangum saying that. I didn't know whether that involved transportation by the RTC or, okay. All right, so let me just see if Ms. Lewis or Ms. Foyle, or if there's someone here from the RTC, or if Ms. VN wants to weigh in or add anything, and I'll start with Ms. Lewis and then Ms. Foyle and so on.
Yeah, I'm really not sure if they, like, what would happen if they would say yes or not. But I don't really have anything else to add.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Foyle. Anything else?
Just based on what Dallas shared, he spent the entire weekend there working, trying to get this worked out, talking with the folks at the RTC, and some of their attitude was less than stellar and has made me very angry, to be quite honest. So I think Dallas is going to have more of a handle on the attitude of the RTC. I think it's cruel. And I'm probably just need to just stop speaking at this point, Your Honor, and
All right.
let Dallas speak on my behalf.
Okay, I'll allow that.
I think your question is fairly fair, Honor. I don't know the answer.
Well,
it may hurt their feelings being told what to do. But sometimes that's how they're told. And
well, if you do the right thing, you generally don't have to be told what to do subsequently. But then again, Dakota's got to follow the rules.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing that does concern me. I don't know the full story.
Right.
And there may be other parts to it that we don't know. And to be honest, that just may be the facts.
Okay. Well, if you don't know the full story, I sure don't.
Certainly, but I should have gotten. I should have asked them more.
Well, I think
on the face of it, the story just seems unfair.
Yeah. Well, do you believe they had opportunity to share more with you if there in fact was more?
They didn't. Yes, they absolutely had the opportunity.
Okay.
He met with the person who determines the level, and she didn't have anything else to offer in terms of justification.
Okay.
And here's, something for all of us to look at. We're fighting for Dakota at his school, who is also on his team, where he never has any issues. I understand the RTC and the school are two different places, but he has issues at one place and not at another. There's other factors that cause that.
Agreed.
Well, and that's a very good point. Were we having issues at both places, then I think my decision might be a little different, maybe a lot different. And in fact, if that's the case, then I'm more inclined to do what I'm prepared to do. Go ahead, Ms. Iverson.
Just to point out the obvious, that one is supposedly equipped to deal with problemed children, and the other one not so much. The school is not as supposed to be as well equipped for that specific task, and they're not complaining. In fact, they're going to bat for them.
And just another thing to point out, someone from that school was on this last call on their day off and would have been on this one if we'd have so asked.
Okay. Well, I generally like the experts and the providers to do their jobs, and I rely on that, and I don't like to overreach when I don't need to, or when it could be handled other ways. But and certainly they have their rules, and their rules are necessary, and Dakota and everyone else needs to respect those and abide by those going forward. But in terms of, no extracurricular activities, given the situation and the facts and the circumstances as I understand them, that's more of a call for the department as the managing conservator, and I know we have a young adult, and for the court that call to make. So let me hear if there's anything else from anyone else. Mr. Mangum?
Yes, sir. I was told, but I had this conversation with Dakota yesterday. I didn't know what we were facing. And he did inform me that there was a kid that played basketball that was on level 1. Apparently he was fairly good, because I think he's in college. So there have been exceptions, I guess, made for this.
Your Honor, the one thing that I think needs to be considered here, and I'm trying to reel my mama bear in, so is Dakota's overall diagnosis, some of his special needs. I understand I am 100%, you follow the rules, you understand, but in his mind, on some level, in this particular situation, if it went down like it did, does his mental capacity allow him to fully understand that trading watches was considered bartering? And I don't know what that looks like. And I don't know that if it's just the rules or rules or rules or rules, or if you can sit back and reconsider, or if I'm just trying to find an excuse for him. I don't know. Again, Dallas would know that more than I would. But to me, and some level of this special needs capacity of understanding the fullness of what is going on comes into effect. Again, the entire community is fighting for this kid. There seems to be almost a delight on some level that the RTC is in control. And I may be totally misrepresenting that. And if I've overstepped, then I ask for Dallas and Ellis to please correct me on that. But I just, there is some concern here on a deeper level that other avenues of his being is being violated beyond his absolute control. And if I've misconstrued that and misunderstood that, I need Dallas to correct that, because he's with him more than I am just getting the reports back. So if I've misrepresented that, please correct me in that. But that was been one of my concerns. But we also need a place for him to be. So it's kind of a catch-22. But I think the punishment should fit the crime, so to speak. And I'm not real sure that at the RTC that has been what has happened. And I don't know that we can do anything about that. But to see this happen to a kiddo is cruel. It is not anything that anyone would do to their own child, is take them completely off the baseball team because they messed up. And our kids are not treated that way. And again, I'm going to stop talking.
Do we know when the RTC made this decision, when all of this went down and they made their decision? Was the RTC laboring under the notion that Dakota was basic level of care or specialized, or or otherwise?
Could I ask-
And does that matter in their factoring and decision making?
I don't see where it factored in.
Is it possible for Ms. Vian to address that?
If she knows, she can certainly chime in, but you know, I certainly appreciate everything this RTC and all the RTCs do. We absolutely need them. They are indispensable. We all know that. We get that. And we're all in this together. But so, Ms. Dick, any objections from the department to my ordering the participation of Dakota in extracurricular activities?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. Ms. Vian can address that if she needs to, but
No, we don't.
Okay, all right, thank you. Good morning, Ms. Vian, thank you. All right, so that's going to be the order of the court. And I certainly would like Dakota on a plan to get back or to at least increase his levels there. You know, he's on notice that he needs to, you know, toe the line and do his part.
Your Honor.
Yes.
We had a very long conversation about that yesterday. And if I could possibly make a suggestion about your order, with that conversation, I told him we were going to fight tooth and nail for him. But I also explained to him that Miss Karen is being a little bit of a mama bear. He knew he broke the rules. I don't know that he could fully fathom the consequences of all of that decision at that moment. Not that any of us maybe could. But in that order, him having consequences for breaking the rule is fair, and it's something we discussed, and it's something he's prepared for, whatever that may be, extra kitchen duty. But just a thought. And maybe the RTC takes that a little better.
And the court would encourage kind of a remedial or reformational chore or consequence, or for lack of a better term, punishment that I would think, if reasonable, Dakota would welcome.
He would.
All right. Well, we got. I have a feeling we got mama bears and daddy bears and brother and sister bears. So, well, that's going to be the order of the court, and I order it to based on the evidence and best interest. So, and after all, it's the department who's the permanent managing conservator, or at least stands in the role of providing services to the young adult. So in this case, so I will sign an order to that effect. Ms. Iverson, Ms. Dick, if you all can, Ms. Iverson, if you can draft that, I will sign it.
thank you, Your Honor.
All right. But it is with the court's appreciation for the RTC and all that they're doing, and all that they will do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much. So if there's nothing else, and thank you all for obviously your hard work over the weekend. So for Dakota's very fortunate and deserving, though, to have you all. So thank you. You all are used on the